Hello friend, how are you? Welcome to Tripani Study Center. Today we are going to do the chapter of social science and highlighting each and every point of it. Let's see what is our topic today. The population of our greater resource. There is a most important chapter arrive here. Population of our greater resource. The first point here, population as a resource. Why is the population as a resource? There is the most important question. Generally, we understand that a population means a collection of people. Let's go through there is a meaning of population. Start at the box below. This term has been defined differently in the different context. You may be find that is the meaning of population start in their science and biology textbooks. Is the difference from how it has been to the use in a social science, geography, economics, or social textbooks. There is the most important here a social science, geography, economics, and social textbooks here. You will be learn that that is a statics. This term has yet another meanings. Will be like to find out what is it. How may do it by the constituting books on the statics. However, is the present lesson we find will be use of population to be mean the collection of people living in a given geographical area or territory. This is how it is used in the sense you. The collection of people is seen and understood primarily in the term of number. But population is also considered as a resource, a human resource. That is important. Population also considered as a resource, a human resource. First of all, here, what does the population mean? What does population mean? The total number of people inhabiting a special area, a territory, example, population of village, city, state, a country is world. There is a population mean. And the next year, total number of people of particular group, race, class, and category. Example, population of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and religious groups like Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Sikh. There is a total number of people, particular group, race, class, and categories here. And the last meaning here, in a biological collection of the interbreedings organisms of the a particular species. Example, population of tiger, deer, etc. There is an important point here. One question arrive your mind, what is a resource? That is the most important question, what is a resource? It is something that can be used and reused. Something can be used and reused. Let's look around their room. We find things like a furniture, books, notebook, pen, cups, and other. We consider them as our resources and use them in our daily life. Now let's us try to trace their origins, and these are made out of the resources which we get from nature. The furniture is made from the timber that we obtain from the forest, and book and the notebooks are made from the birds' pulps, which is come from the forest. The pen is made up to the plastic, which is a by a product of petroleum. The cup is made of the clay found in the soil, and these are many more things which are a part of daily life extract here. And perceive there is a manufacture from the nature resources. It is the people who with there is a physical and mental effort convert the natural resource into the various good of unity. If resources are things that are used and reused, how can a population be considered a resources? We all know that the grain which are cultivated in the field, the minerals that are mined, and the goods which are manufactured in the factories are all produced by people. People of the country produce and develop in various facilities and service to make their lives comfortable. The facilities, whether these are a mean of transport or communication, and schools, colleges, hospital, electricity, producing of unit, infrastructure for irrigations and other, play a significant role in the development of a country. For producing and development all such as facilities and converting them into useful resources, human beings play the role of the best resources. And without human beings, other resources cannot be developed and utilized the properly. And therefore, the number of well as the quality of people and collective is the real and ultimate resource of a country. They're also important in a view of above the share number of people which is determined by the census and conducted at a periodical interval may be irregularities, but the quantitative population become the human capital of a country. For converting the number into the capital, the country has to be invest a lot in the form of improving the health and nutritional status of people, their education and specialized training and their overall quality of life. The investment of improving the quality of the people made by the state as well as the societies matter a lot. It is simply that every individual develop to be a fullest capability and engage in the development process of the country. It is therefore important to understand that people as a human resource are both an object of the development and also a participant in the development. As we discussed earlier, there is a number of people maybe not be a call it resource, but there are a content factor which is a converted this number into the useful resources. This is important. The important term is arrive here human capital. Human capital over the year the term used to describe staff and employees in a business have changed. We have moved from the personal to be human resource to be human capital. And the human capital represent a attribute of a person that a productivity in the economical context. It is referred to the stock of productivity skill and technical knowledge is embodied in a labor. And the next year sends you. The producer of systematically is acquiring and recording information about the member of given population. The term is used mostly in a connection with the national population and door-to-door census to be taken every 10 years. The government of India with the assistance of state has been conducting census to be collect data about the various demographic and social economic aspects of our population. The next point here, factors making a population in a human resources. That's an important factor making a population a human resource. What are the factors that influence the role of population as the human resource? You infer from the above discussion that the education, health and nutrition status of a people and their specialized training determine the quality of population as a human resources. But besides this, there are a key social and demographical factor that have a significant impact on the role of population as a resource. And these are first of all here distribution of population, and second here growth of population, and third here population composition. We shall try to understand these three factors. Let us begin to distribution of population here. The next topic is the most important here, distribution of population. The here distribution of population. You may be knowing that is the resources, whether it's the nature and any other, are not even distributed. For example, natural resources like a forest or iron or is or coal or is not found evenly in their world and also within our own country. The same is the case with the human resources. They are not evenly spread everywhere in the world and the numbers keep on changing. The spread of population over area may be in a state or the entire country. Is now as the distribution of population. You will find it is a very interesting when you look at the following map of India. It is shown how the population of India is spread across the various state and union territory, means UTs. This has been shown through the dots, and each dot representing 5 lakh person. There is a one dot here represent a 5 lakh person. As you see, in some state, The number of dot is a less. Even if there is area of substantially larger, it means that the population is that this state is either widely spread or moderately spread. But in some other state, the dots are very close to be one to another. So close that this part is the map look almost painted. In them there is a spread of population every dance. Let us prepare a list of sparsely populated, moderately populated, and densely populated state and union territory of India. On your screen, there is a most important map here. Indian distribution of population 2001. You know that there is a most important map. To clear your mind, there is a population distribution of here. The numbers of dot is a 1 is a 5 lakh person. The many area here show that the population is very low. Like there is a important Jammu and Kashmir side, the population is very low. But there is a Gujarat side, some numbers, but there is a show here Kolkata, Bihar, Delhi, Punjab. There is a maximum population living in their side. There is the most important map on your screen. So our next topic is the most important here, density of population. Density of population, there is the most important topic here. Based on the above figure or comparisons of population distribution in any two state will be quite interesting. Let us look at the state of Maharashtra and West Bengal in the map. The pattern of the spread of population in them are different. From the simple look at the map, it appears that West Bengal has a more population than Maharashtra. But it's not true. Maharashtra has a more population than West Bengal. But Maharashtra is a thin is populated because its land area is large than that of West Bengal. Hence, we cannot compare to population situation of the two states in terms of only their number without considering their area. That is why the comparison of population of regions and countries is done through their density of population. The density of population is the number of person is a live per unit or area. It is usually expressed as a number of people per square kilometer, and the formula is the composition is here. Density of population is equal to number of people in a defined area unit upon total area square kilometer of that particular area. There is a most important formula here, density of population. And from determine the density of number of people live in a specific territory is divided by the total area of territory. And this provides as an average number of person living per square kilometer in territory. For example, let us assume that is a population of a district is a 2,50,000 and the area is a 1,000 square kilometer. The density of population of a district can be calculated as following factor. The density of population here is important. The divided here 1,000. The 1,000 divided has a 3 zero is cutting, but only here come to 250. The 250 is a per square kilometer person living in this area. There is a most important formula or calculator of density of population. On your screen, there is a most important map here. Population density of India 2001. There, according to 2001, there is number of person per square kilometer. You know that the less than 100, there is a most important area here. Arunachal Pradesh side and Jammu and Kashmir side, and the maximum density is here 1001 there and above. The maximum Bihar, Uttar Pradesh shown on your screen, and also the Kerala and Bengal. There is a Bengal. There is the most important, and the median is a 101 to 250. There is almost Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and other side here. This is the most important map on your screen. There is the population density. Examiner maximum time asks the question the low density and high density population. The next here, factor in the distribution and density of population. There is a most important point here. Factor in the distribution and density of population. Why is the distribution of population uneven? Why? There is a most important. Why is the distribution of the population is uneven? It's a human nature that people like to live in their area where resources are easily available. There is human nature that people like to live in the area where resources are easily available. These resources may be fresh water, fertile soil, and food and shelter, the opportunity of work and other. There is a most important word here. There is a population here stay. There are water, fertility soil, food and shelter, the opportunity of work and other. The ability of resource is influenced by the geographical feature which are causing an uneven distribution, and therefore density and distribution of population are also uneven. We can divide the factor which factor distribution and density of population into two broad categories: physical and social economics. There is the most important social, economics and physical. Let's see first point here, physical factor. On your screen there are physical factor. Three important physical factors influence the distribution of density on population is namely relief, climate and soil. There is a physical factor. The first of all here, relief. You may have a visit a mountainous area or valley, and also as a plain area is observed that the mountains are less populated than the plain. The relief which represents the difference in the elevations and the slope between to the higher and the lower part of land surface of given area directly affect the accessibility of the area. The area which are easily accessible are most likely to be inhabited by the people. That is why we find that is a plain or densely populated an area of rugged to the relief like a mountain and plateaus are not. If you compare the density and distribution of population in northern plain and those is the Himalaya area, you can find the effect of the relief. There is an important, first of all, the relief. On your screen, there is the most important here, factor distribution of population here. The physical features is like that. There is a mountain, endogenetics of plant, and third desert. There is a most important factor distribution of population here. The next point here, climate. Climatic condition is one of the most important factor which affect our density and population of distribution. The density, distribution of population and favorable climate provide a convenient is a living condition for human beings. The high density of population is found in the area where the climate is favorable. But area which is a harsh climate, areas that are too hot, too cold, too dry and too wet have a lower density of population. In India, there are area having dry climate such as Rajasthan and the area with extremely cold climate such as the valley in Jammu and Kashmir or Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand have a low density of population. And the next point here, soil. The human beings is a depend upon the quality of soil for agriculture. Area of the fertility soil can be therefore support a large population. That is why the region of fertility soil such as the available plain of northern India and coastal plain have a higher density of population. On the other hand, the area with a less fertility soil like a part of Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh have a lower density of population. The next here, social economical factor. There's a most important point here, social economical factor. The density and distribution of population also depend on the flowing social economical condition of area. The first of all here, industrialization and urbanization. Industrialization and urbanization, as you will find the large number of people reside in the area having industries. They also prefer to be living in the urban area, town and cities. The area which are rich in the mineral resource also attract a large population. The mining area in Jharkhand are very densely populated, and this is so because this area support to the several economical activities and afford lot of employment opportunities. Moreover, their education and health facilities are better this area. We are aware that all the large cities of India like Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Kolkata, and many more have a high density of population. There is a most important social economic factor like industrialization and urbanization. The next year, transport and communication. Transport and communication, there is the most important factor here. Some part of country have a better transport and communication facility and other public utilities service than their other part. Area of northern plan are very well connected and there is a northeastern area have a comparatively a poor connectivity. All such area where there are public facilities are well developed have a comparatively is a high density of population and sometimes we find that a place of culture and religious significance are also densely populated. All the above mentioned factor operate in a combination. We can take the example of the high density population in the Ganga plan. It is a causing by a combination of factor at the level land, fertile soil and favorable climate and industrialization and urbanization. And comparative well is a development mean of transport and communication. On the other hand, factor like rugged hills, terrain, uncomfortable climate and poor means of transport and communication together causing a low density of population in area like those of Arunachal Pradesh. There is the most important example here, Arunachal Pradesh. And Arunachal Pradesh, the maximum here is low density because there is a yearly rainfall on here. The next topic is important here, growth of population. Growth of population is important, growth of population here. The quality of population as a human resource in any country is a greatly influenced by the pattern of population change. The change can be term of population growth or population negative growth. There is a change can be in a term of population growth or population negative growth. So there is a population of the world is still growing. The world is still growing higher population and there are countries where it is a decline and both the situation of population change have their impact on the quality of human resources. If your population grow at the faster rate, it is a result into on the imbalance between the population growth and resources of a country. This situation has on the advice impact on the quality of human resources. There is a situation has a advice there is impact on the quality of human resources. The Indian population has been growing since a long. Indian population has been growing since long from the population of the 3 is 238 million. 238 millions in the year is a 1901. It is increased to be a 1028 million in a 2001 and still growing. This increasing of population is a more than 4 times within a span of country. On the other hand, there are countries of Western Europe where the population is a decline. Why it is so? Let's identify those factors are responsible for the population growth. First of all here, factors of growth of population. Factors of growth of population. Population of any country increases and decreasing because of the three main is demographical factor. Three main demographical factor here: birth rate, death rate, and migration. There is a three factor here: birth rate, death rate, and migration. A number of social economical factors also influence the birth rate and death rate, which ultimately affect a population change. However, you may be find in the figure 14.5 that in our country the main reason for a rapidly increase of population is a high birth rate and low death rate. The migration as a factor has a rather negligible influence on the population growth at the national level. However, it has influence at the local and regional level here. In this graph, there is a population growth. You know that there is a most important factor here: death rate and birth rate. Death rate is a decrease, but birth rate is a usually increase. There is a most important graph for your screen. There is a almost all the doubt you are clear for in this map here. If you study a figure 14.5 carefully, you will be find that death rate has been declined since the 1921. I have already see the a graph. There is a most important. There is a decline sign the 1921 of death rate. The birth rate also started to decline during to some period. However, the decline in the death rate has been too faster than the birth rate here. That is why there is a gap between the birth rate and death rate has been too varying decline and increasing in a population. The population growth is also visible when you look at the decadal growth given to the figure 14.6. The decadal growth rate have a decline is a marginally is between 1981 and 1991 and again between to the 1991 to 2001. It is a happy sign, but you may be surprised to know that despite of the decreasing growth of rate, the absolute of population has been to be increasing continuously over to the successive year. The based on the outcome of birth rate and death rate. The entire period since the 1901 to 2001 has been divided into the four groups: stagnant, steadily and rapidly and slowly down stage of population growth here. On your screen, there is the most important birth rate. The birth rate, there is the number of birth per thousand of population in a given year under a particular territory is called crudely birth rate. Means popular known as the birth rate as here birth rate is equal to suppose a district is the total birth are 800 in a year and the mild year of the population is a 25,000. So here a birth rate is equal to the birth rate here 800 upon 25,000. There are two zeros cutting and here up into 1,000. There is a most important here 1,000. There are three zeros also is a cutting here and there is a 800 divided by 25. There is a most important here. You know that calculate here and your answer is a very easily come here. The next year death rate. The number of death per thousand of population in a given year under a particular territory is called cruelty death rate. A population known as the death rate is thus here. There is a death rate is equal to number of death in a year under a area and mean year population of the area into 1,000. Suppose in the district the total death are 600 in the year and the mid year population is a 25,000. So there is a population here, the death rate here a 600 upon 25,000 multiply by 1,000. There are three zeros cutting and there is a 600 divided by 25 they come out 24 per thousand of population. There is a most important here the death rate is here calculation. The next year natural growth rate. The natural growth rate is important. Natural growth rate is a difference between the birth rate and death rate. Therefore, natural growth rate is a birth rate is a minus death rate. Suppose the birth rate of the particular year within an area is 32 and death rate are 24. Therefore, natural growth rate is a 32 minus 24 means 8 per thousand of population. That is the most important. Here come to the birth rate here 32 and death rate is coming to the 24. The minus to each other there's come to the 8 per thousand of population here. On screen there is a most important here decadal population growth India. There is a most important period time here 1901 to 2001. There is a population in a crore. This is important. You know that is the 1901 there is 23.83 is a crore here. But the development year 2001 there is a 102.87 crore. You know that there is a population is rapidly growth here. As we find the right from the beginning of the 12th century, the population of India has been increasing in the absolute. The numbers are expected during to the 1921 when there was decline. Is a absolute is a number after the 1921 and there has been to the continuously as a rising a trend. That is why the census year of 1921 is called the year of the Great Divided in the demographical history of India. Let's try to understand the reason for the last rate of population growth in India. The most significant factors are literacy and the low level of education, and unsatisfactory health and nutritional state and poverty. There are some other crucially social culture factor like a preference of male child, preference of the male child here, and earlier marriage, religious belief, and the low status of women. There is a most important factor here like a preference of a male child, earlier marriage, or religious belief, and the low status of women. Next here, population composition. The population composition is important. We have studied the distribution, density, and growth of population so far, and you would be has been able to understand that a net effect of the difference between rate, birth rate, and death rate determine their place and trend of population change. There is a most important effect of the difference between death rate and birth rate. And this net effect also is a demonstrate that a composition of the population, which is an important factor influencing not only for the pace of population growth but also the quality of population as a human resource. What is a population composition here? And population composition is a descriptions of population defined as a characteristics such as age, sex, rural, urban, literacy status. That is the most important. We shall therefore try to understand the following except there is a population composition of India. Let's see the population composition of India here. The first here, population composition here is composition and sex composition, rural urban composition and literacy. That is the most important. And today discuss here age composition. The age composition is the population has a significant implication for the current and future development of country. Population has been traditionally divided into three broad age group: children 0 to 14 years, adult 15 to 16 years, and old more than to 60 years. The figures show age composition of the India's population in the above mentioned group. If we compare the data from 1971, it's observed that is a child population is a decline and population of the adult has been increasing. However, population of the old is also increased. In this way, the share of dependent population is increased. Population of the old and children put together constitute there is a dependent population. When the number of dependent population increasing, the dependencies ratio goes to up to as a result the countries has invest more on the growth and development of children and welfare for all people. Otherwise, the same resources can be used for the productivity purpose. The most important here dependency ratio. Dependency ratio means here dependency population 0 to 14 year plus more than 60 year old, and here upon working population means 15 to 59 years into 100. Suppose in a district dependent population is 0 to 14 year plus more than 60 years is a 7,000 and working population is a 15 to 59 year is a 18,000. Thus, the dependency ratio here of 7,000 upon 18,000 into 100 means there is the 38.89 here. That means out of the every 100 person, 39 are dependent and 61 are working person. You know that there is the most important point here. 100 persons, every 100 person, 39 are the dependent and 61 are the working person on India. The next year, think and ponder. Your grandparents began to the age of group of 60 years and above, belong to their dependent population group. Do you think they are a burden? Are they not to be a contribute toward the welfare of family and society? If yes, how are they contributing? If no, why are not we contributing? That's the most important point here. And the next year, let's see a figure. On your screen, there is a most important age composition of population for the selective bordered group. There is a 1961 to 2001. There is an adult here, child 0 to 14 year. There is a maximum on your screen, but maximum here adult 15 to 59 is there is the most important, and the 60 plus there is a very less amount on your screen. There is a most important here composition of population for here. The next point here, adolescents and district population group here. The latest approach to the understand the age composition emphasizes there need to be treat adolescents as a district population group here. Traditionally, we have been to divide it population in a three phase: childhood, adulthood, and old age. There is a most important phase here: childhood phase, adult phase, and old age phase. But we are observed there are many individuals who are the neither children nor adult. Neither children are not adult. If you yourself are there in the phase of life, you must have experience. Your parents are other, their adult tellings you. You are why you are going this? You are no longer a child. On another occasion, there is the same adult would be a telling. How can you do this? You are not an adult. In fact, the phase of life between childhood and adulthood, say between 10 year and 19 year, few more year, is known as the adolescence, and the person is the age group of identify as an adolescent. You might go through there is a next to the box to understand the meaning of adolescence is better. What does the meaning of adolescent here? That is the most important question. United Nations defined are the based on number of year flowing. Adolescent is a 10 to 19 year old, youth here 15 to 24 years olds, and young people here 10 to 24 year olds. But adolescence as a population group may be not be seen only in the association with their precise is a number of year. As is the predexities is a various form of person to person. Adolescence belong to be a developmental period which is extend from end of the childhood to the beginning of adulthood. Adolescence is defined as the period of physical, psychological, and social maturations from childhood to the adulthood. The period extending from the poverty to the attainment of fully reproductive maturity. There is an important here. As shown in table 1.1, adolescent are district population group is a continually is almost 22.0% of total population of India. This was their share is a 2001, and their number of still growing and currently in 2009. Their percentage share has increased. The National Population Policy 2000 identify them as the under is a sub population group because their need have not been specifically addressed so far. The policy of describe various strategies to be addressed a different need of adolescent, and these are there provide to them accurate information about the physical, psychological, physiological, and social change and development that take place during to the adolescence. Development of needed life skill and empower them to the avoid risky situation and to attain sound physical, mental, and social health. Provide a food, supplement, and nutrition here. On your screen, there is a most important here trend in the sex ratio in India 2001 to 2001. There is a 100 years the gap. 10 sex ratio in India here. There is the most important sex ratio is 972, 964, 955, 50, and then almost the 1945. There is a most important difference here sex ratio on India. The next year, sex composition. Sex composition is a very significant indicator of quality of population of a country. As a human resource, in fact, primarily it is understood on the basis of the sex ratio. Sex ratio is defined as the number of females per 1000 male. It is an important social indicator to the measuring the extent of prevailing equalities between the male and female at the given point of time. Sex ratio should be a variable, but in our country, sex ratio has a ways to remain unfavorable to be females. And the matter of concern in that it has been to the decline in the year 1901. And there was a 1972 people per 1000 males. There is a most important here. 1901 there is a 972 female. There is a 1000 male. In 2001, it was a come down in the 1933 only, the 1000 of male. And the next point here, sex ratio is calculated as a flowing. Sex ratio is equal to total number of female in a particular area and total number of male in the same area into 1000. Suppose in a district the total number of female is 12,000 and total number of male is 13,000. And sex ratio here, there is a most important calculation is the 300. The 30 is cutting and the 12,000 divided by 13. There is a here come out 923 female per 1000 male. There is a most important here sex ratio calculation here. Let us think why the sex ratio is unfavorable in our country. It is primarily because of the prevailing discrimination against the female in our society. The favorable sex ratio is available only in one state and in a territory. It is a 1058 in the state of Kerala and 1001 in the Union Territory of Pondicherry. And now there is a Pondicherry. This is important. Two states there is a favorable condition here. Kerala and Pondicherry here. The next year sex ratio. Child sex ratio, there is a most important here. The trend of decline the child sex ratio in the country in a matter of great concern. The sex ratio in a 0 to 6 year population, child population is continuously decreasing. Whereas there's a 1991 and 2001 census report here shows some improvement in the overall sex ratio. The sex ratio of 0 to 6 year population has decreased sharply. Out of 28 states and 7 union territory, only in 4 states, namely as Kerala, Mizoram, Sikkim, Tripura, and Union Territory of Lakshadweep, the child sex ratio is in the tune with the overall sex ratio. The worst affected state of Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Punjab, and Uttarakhand, and the Union Territory of Chandigarh and National Capital Region of Delhi. The decline in child sex ratio suggests the prevalence of the practice of the female feticide and the female infanticide in this state. And these practices are against norm of the society. There are civil societies also here. And next year, rural-urban composition here. India has been a land of farmer, a country of villages. At the beginning of the 20th century, and the 9 out of 10% used to live in a village. More than 3/4 of their population still lives in a rural area. The urban areas in India is defined as one in which the 3/4 of the population depend directly, indirectly on non-agriculture is a pursuits. With the minimum of 5,000 population and the density began not less than 40% per square kilometer and should have a municipalities town area is a municipal corporation. In SEMA figure, we are moving rather fast about to urbanization along with the consequence such as storage of housing and water, electricity and encroachment on environment. That's important here. On your screen, the rural urban changes here. Rural and urban population here changes. The population on 1951 to 2001. There is a difference, is a many percentage and difference on your screen. The next year, literacy. Literacy is the indicator of development of any society. As defined, there are since you report a person age 7 and above who can both read and write with understanding in any language is tend to be literate. Literate rate is the country was 18.33% of 1951. It is increasing to 65.37% year 2001. There is a most important figure on your screen, literacy rate in India. There is increasing, but a sufficient not increasing here. You know that there is increasing. 1951 there is 18.33, 1961 there is 28.30, and 1981 is a 43.57, and 1991 is a 51, and 2001 there is 65.37. There is the most important here increasing. Among the very state of our country, Kerala has the highest literacy is 90.86%, following by the Mizoram 88.49%, and Lakshadweep here 97.52%. But literacy rate is generally lower among the female compared to the male. We have been thus they are able to understand that a population of any country cannot become its greatest resources only by the virtue of its number. The country has to invest to improve the quality of demographic characteristics and convert the number into a resource. For converting the number into the human resource, India, like many other countries of the world, has been adopting and implementing policy and programs in the next section. Therefore, we shall try to understand policy of government of India is represent of population and empowerment of women. Population policy in India. Our next topic is important population policy of India. Do you know that discussion on the population growth and their need to be adopt a population policy had begun in India even before independence. A sub-communities of population was set up by the national planning committees and appointed in the 1938 by the internal government. This committee in their resolution in the 1940 and said in the interest of social, economical and family happiness and national planning, family planning and our limitation of children are essential. That is important. In 1952, India was the first country in the world to launch a national population program emphasizing to family planning. The aim of the programs was to reduce the birth rate, to be stabilize the population at the level of consistent with the requirement of national economics. Then India has been reformulating in the population policy from time to time, the details of which you can get from relevant books or even you study the higher classes. At present, we shall try to understand the latest population policy which was adopted by the government of India in 2000. National Population Policy mean NPP 2000. There is a most important policy here. The National Population Policy 2000 has made a quantitative depth chart in its approach to the population issue. It does not be directly lay up emphasis on population control. It is a state that the object of economics and social development in the improvement the quality of lives their people lead. To enhance there is a well begins and to be provide their opportunities and choosing to be become a productivity assist. The resources in the society and socialized population is on the stimuli requirement of promoting sustainable development. The immediate is objective of the NPP 2000 is to address the unmet need for the contraception and health and infrastructure and healthy personnel and to provide the integrated service is a deliver for the basic reproductive and child health care. This is important child health care. The medium terms objective to be bearing to the total fertility rate is means TFR. There is a most important total fertility rate to replacement level of 2010, there is a vigorous is implementation of intersectoral operational stage. The long-term objective to be achieved a stable population by 2045 with a sustainable economic growth and social development and environment protection here. And meaning of here, total fertility rate or replacement level. It is a total fertility rate at which the newborn girl and would we have to average and exclusively one daughter one there is a lifetime. In a more familiar term, every woman has many babies as a needed to be replaced her and it result into the zero population growth. And second here, stable population. Stable population here, a population where fertility and mortality are constant over a period of time. And this type of population will be shown on unvarying age distribution and will grow at the constant rate. Where fertility and mortality are equal to stable population in a standard. The next year, women empowerment in India. The empowerment of women is a very crucial for the improving the quality of population as a human resource. Human in India, for the making up almost 50% of total population has been localized down upon their subjected to the discrimination. This is the most important. Almost 50% of the total population has been looked down upon the subjected to be discrimination. By simply logic, this has is deprived to the nations of the contribute of half of it is a population as a human resources. This is a quality opposite of what is seen there absorbed in the developed world. The role of women in our country has been limited to looking after their families. And also we can mute spectators to be all kind of discrimination, ill treatment and crime against them. If you throw the Indian in the constitution, you will be find that it's article 14, 15, 16, 19, 39, 42, 51E. Provision has been to made to the ensure justice and equality to all. There are justice and equality to all. Many law has been to pass like a Special Marriage Act 1954, Medical Termination of the Pregnancy Act 1971, and Child Marriage Restraint Act of Amendment of 1978. Yet the status of women continue to be a matter of great concern here. And some step has been taken, and it is a hope that there will be a quantitative change in the status of women. The improvement of women receive a major boost. When there are 73 and 74th, there is a constitutional amendment is providing 33% of reservation of the seat of women is a Panchayati Raj institution and annual local bodies were passed by the parliament. There is the most important here. 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment. There is the most important 33% of reservation seat of Panchayati Raj institution and urban local bodies here. Another constitutional amendment bill has been introduced will be aimed to the providing 33% reservation of women in the House of People and State Legislative Assembly. A National Commission of the Women come into existence in 1992, Act of passed in 1990. While the function has been to the assigned to be a commission to look into there is a investigate into any ill treatment, what there is the notice against the women and safeguard their interest. The ultimate object is the facilitate their achievement, development and improvement of women are eliminate all form to discrimination. And this step will be also ensure there is a active participation in all sphere of life and activities here. You can read, learn and understand about their need of women, empowerment and effort the made more in their detail in the lesson social economic development and improvement of the disadvantaged group. There is a most important coming lesson.